And to tell that story, I need to back up and tell a larger story of the advocacy and relational work that is being done through Interfaith Action Network. IAN is a grassroots, multi-faith, multi-race, multi-generational coalition of 14 faith communities in Northwest Indiana. Our church, First Unitarian, has been a proud member of this coalition since 2021. IAN was born out of relationships and has relationship at its center. It began as members of 4 Gary faith communities: St. Mary of the Lake Catholic Church, Bethel Lutheran, Marquette Methodist, and Temple Israel, met to grieve together in the wake of the injustice of George Floyd's murder in May of 2020. Now let me be clear. These congregations were already in relationship through shared documentary movie nights, lobbying politicians, and an annual interfaith Thanksgiving service in Miller. And while grieving was important work in and of itself, those members decided it wasn't enough to wring their hands. They needed to organize and act to prevent future unjustified killings. As she tells the story, Pastor Joy Heine from Bethel Lutheran and Robin Rich from Temple Israel were sitting together on a park bench when Robin asked who could take on that task of organizing, and Pastor Joy responded, "Well, you could. You've been an organizer your whole career. Organizing is in your bones." After some reflecting, Robin agreed to co-lead the effort with Charlotte Hawkins of Bethel Lutheran. To expand beyond the original 4 congregations, they drew on personal contacts. Matt Diltz from Marquette Methodist reached out to his friend Maggie Reister from this church, who contacted Michelle Farrell from our Faith in Action ministry. And Michelle started attending meetings on Zoom. It was COVID time, after all. Inspired by the conclusions of the Gary Police Reform Commission, IAN focused on the creation of mobile mental health response unit for Gary. IAN saw this as a practical and worthy goal for reimagining non-police response to help people in crisis and at risk. We learned that American Rescue Plan, ARPA, funds were being used to great effect in many cities throughout the country for launching new kinds of mental health response programs. We met with the local mental health professionals, law enforcement, and public officials to explore how to make a non-confrontational response to mental health calls a reality in our region. In May 2022, IAN grew from 4 to 10 congregations, and we held a community meeting at St. Mary of the Lake under the banner of Help Not Handcuffs. 17 of us here from First Unitarian were in that crowd that swelled to over 150 by the time the rally began. Later that year, IAN joined many other groups in advocating for the passage of SB 1, which would fund crisis response statewide. In March 2023, as a direct response to a sustained pressure campaign, Gary passed an ordinance dedicating $1.3 million in ARPA funds for mental health crisis care, and in April, the state appropriated $100 million to build out a crisis care system across Indiana. This represented the first significant increase in the funding of mental health in our state in over 30 years. So what has happened since then, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. In recent years, we have grown large enough, 14 congregations, that our work is divided into 4 subgroups. One group focuses on the implementation of mobile mental health in the region. Another group is working to create a community responders system in Gary. A third group focuses on opposing statewide cuts to Medicaid and SNAP. And a fourth group works on expanding our interfaith network by building bridges between our faiths. So let's briefly take each one of the 4 subgroups in turn, starting with our signature mission of creating mobile mental health units in Lake County to see examples of using the power of relationships to heal our world. I'm happy to report that we now have multiple mobile crisis units run out of Edgewater Health, which focuses on the city of Gary, and out of Regional Health, which focuses on the rest of Lake County. And to be clear, none of this existed 2 years ago. In addition, the IAN Mobile Mental Health Subgroup, including Mackie Reister, sits on the Community Stakeholders Committee of Edgewater Health, which meets every 2 months. IAN has a unique position on this committee because we are the only volunteer community group there. Connected to our mobile mental health work, let's look how the community responded